how good this deck is. Drew and I actually hung out at the last event that we played together, and we drew in the top in the last round into the top 8, and I was just super sad because I do not want to play against. Oh yeah, let me set my whole deck up, and you click me in my draw step to make my Reforge the Soul go away.
Right.
I watched him earlier beat a Belcher player. This deck eats combo alive. It has a pretty good Murktide matchup. It seems like its only weakness, not only weakness, but one of its weaknesses is 4-color. And so 4-color being pretty prominent today, it's going to be rough. But when I was talking to Drew, he said that he made some changes that should help with that. Most notably, it looks like he's playing 2 Memory Deluges, which was not in the original list.
Oh, sure.
And I think that's done a lot for him. And he's still playing the 4 Blast Zones that are common to this deck in this, which I cannot believe is in this deck list. However, one of the good things about this, though, is it eats Hammer. And so he played Hammer last round, and I was talking with his opponent, Paul, who was on earlier,
Right.
and Paul was like, yeah, he just destroyed my entire board with a Blast Zone when I went to kill him with it.
Because he comes in with 1.
Yeah, and so he like attacked with a
Like an Ornithopter
or something that had 2 hammers on it, and he was just like blow everything up.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that's brutal. But it looks like we have gotten into the game. We're mulliganing here. All right, and Drew on the play. Crystal, yeah.
White bordered islands, let's go.
He did that intentionally. So, for those of you who don't know, Team 3-Star is made up of some pretty famous local players here that just love to make fun of and troll people. Clint, or Peliotis TV, who was in here earlier today, is the one who decided to make them all playmats and sleeves and all the fun stuff that they get up to.
That's cool.
Dismembers the Ragavan.
Which member?
This one, right here. Jeez, that's aggressive. Though, I think makes sense. His life total is now at 16, which is not reflected on the thing. But we'll keep track of it the best we can. They've got it written down on their pads, so... Into Shredder. And it looks like a Bobble. Yep, so it resolves. Bobble trigger.
I wonder what Crystal's gonna connive here. Yes.
Bring chat up here.
And then stick to.
Alright, I turn that all the way off. There we go. Seize, Dismember Adazwara, Blast Zone, Counterspell. Nice. Second Dismember. Taking out the Ledger Shredder, but... Oh, that was on the instant. Okay. I was like, did Drew miss? There we go.
Discarding Bobble to. There is that Blast Zone.
Into Svalin. So, notably, this card is really only in here to be a Howling Mine. That's it. Like, you can almost never make it indestructible. You do have some Type Shapers out of the sideboard sometimes, but very frequently this card is only here to be a 3-4. That's hard to kill, that draws you cards. Very difficult for them to
Kill your opponent. With,
I mean, yeah. I guess that's fair. One of those, protect your things. He's doing the Connive trigger. It looks like Drew could have Force, which is why we're waiting. Alright, so he's going to let that go.
Discarding Spell Pierce with a Connive. I do love that new Spell Pierce from Soul Masters.
It is really good with the lady talking about spilling her drink or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got a couple foils of that. It's fantastic. What's up? No, we're not. I have the stream up right now.
We got millions of reasons.
Yeah.
To let it all go. We're not
Okay.
too broken.
You're good. I was like, I swear.
No, I'm not
All right. It looks like
no man behind the curtain.
I don't know what happened to the Ragavan. Oh, okay. He's putting it into play. Oh, it was on off expressive. Off expressive. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Connives. Gets in. There's the Deluge we were talking about before. Gotta imagine it's pretty good in this matchup. Like, lets you compete with Expressive Iteration.
Do you think you ever get to 7 mana to flash it back?
Maybe. I mean, the deck is extremely controlling, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. There's like 16 counterspell-esque effects in this deck if you count Chalice. So you're definitely can slow the game down. So I would not be surprised. And Drew is a very good deck builder. So I think he expects to get to that point. Speaking of Chalice, this is the draw for the turn. He's got Borrower and Chalice. Opponent's got 2 lands and something in hand. Assume this is Chalice.
Borrower, bounce Ragavan, play Chalice on 1.
That would be my guess as to what's about to happen. I think it's a Consider on the far left of his hand. Bounce Ragavan.
Oh, not in the graveyard, Drew.
There you go.
Trigger Knife.
Does he draw Spell Pierce?
Discard Ragavan.
Fetch. I assume this is probably the Consider that's in the hand.
Right, trying to cast those any 1 mana spells
Yeah.
before the Chalice on 1
Nice.
lands.
Yep, there's the Consider. Another Ragavan.
Ragavan.
I think that was another land, though. This deck is mostly 1 mana spells, so... Though there is Archmage's Charm, which I don't know what... I mean, it draws him some cards. It draws her some cards, my bad. Gets in for 2. Drew down to 8, I believe.
Yes, should be 8. Ragavan, did we miss a Connive or Crystal?
No.
Did she discard spell with the...
She did. Wait, she discarded the Ragavan.
Yeah. I think there should be another counter on that.
On that Ledger Shredder. It is I don't think it's a trigger you can miss. However, I think we're just gonna let the players play for now. Gone a little too far at this point, I think, to interrupt the game. Big ol' Murktide Regent. I'm going to guess this gets met with Counterspell. Oh no. Drew just untaps. The Murktide resolving is huge.
Yeah, it's tricky with now Drew has to deal with resolved
Murktide.
Threats.
Yeah, which I think is the hardest part for this deck.
Right.
I will say, if he has another bounce spell though, like, the Murktide is not a very big deal.
Right, yeah, and I think the
Looks like we got the judge over.
the Ledger Shredder.
So it was the Ragavan and the Bauble were the 2 discards to the Shredder. So looks like play is going to resume though. Crack's Islet draws a card.
Yeah, so with Shredder, those Blast Zone to 2 can deal with the Ledger Shredder.
That's true.
But yeah, need a bounce spell for that Murktide.
I assume with the way that Drew is playing, where he just did nothing, he's either going to flash in this Borrower. Oh, there's the Otawara. This is one of the things that drives me nuts about the legendary lands, is you just cannot interact with them.
Unless you type a witch. I think... So, I can't remember who I was talking to the other day, but they were like, I'm playing 1 less Archmage's Charm and playing a dissolve or not
Nimble Obstructionist?
no
Disallow?
Disallow. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of
To fight the lands.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it can deal with the channel lands, the elemental triggers.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know one of our, what is his name? Andy, he's a Jund player normally, but he is on 4-color today. He is playing a Nimble Destructionist in his sideboard for the same reason. But he's playing a traverse package, so he can traverse it into his hand. Alright, Murktide number 2. Consider
Counter.
up, there we go.
There you go.
Wait.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. Oh no.
It's the shredder trigger.
Oh, conniving with the shredder.
Okay, discard the ball. Up to 2. Cracks. I assume this is gonna be for Murktide. I'm curious as to what the last spell in Drew's hand is.
If you ever need a helper,
what's up? We got Brad and Clint. Clint has decided to return to watch Drew play.
Welcome back, Clint.
I'm here just to treat you right.
Him 3 stars.
I know. We were talking about 3-star earlier. I will say, as somebody who plays against them very frequently, I always lose to Drew.
See, I did something that I thought was impossible in the team trios event last week. I beat Drew in the Swiss, but lost to him in the top 8. So.
Drew is a very accomplished pilot.
He's very good.
So. I don't know almost anything about Crystal, though. This is the first event that I've seen her at. So... She's obviously kicking butt, though, so...
Oh, yeah.
Plus, fantastic choice of basics. The Ice Age Snows. Spreading Seas.
I'm your Clark. From now to eternity, I give you all my heart. We are meant to be explicit. My love is bigger than I thought. I got
Drew's drawn a bounce spell. And another Brazen Borrower.
My love and my pleasure, the key to my treasure. What I was the weather, day up and now with you till I die. How many times for you I'm a try? Want you to notice the one and I know this perfect soulmate. I want to show.
Thought I had turned that off.
I thought so too. Some weird things going on today.
Tapped out, though. This is a good opportunity to get rid of the Murktide here. Bounce the Murktide again. So now there are 2.
We have a conniving shredder.
I feel like the shredder might just get there. Like, Drew's at 6, doesn't have a threat in play.
Discard another Murktide.
Yeah. Shredder's at 4, so oh no, Chalice. I was gonna say Lightning Bolt might get him there, but got her there. Gets in. Drew goes to 2. Another shredder. It's not looking good.
Connive. Yeah, I don't think Drew has time to blast zone these shredders away.
Yeah, I think he needed to. There was a turn where I think he just let things go and didn't pump one of them up. And I think that may have. Well, no, because he tapped out to cast something else.
Counter. Make him have it.
I don't think Crystal's used to playing underneath a Chalice.
Right. And that's now that's on Arena for historic.
Is that what just came in? Oh. Why would you put that card is miserable to play against.
Yeah. Arena will never miss your Chalice trigger.
No, neither does MTGO.
I don't think Drew will either, and he scoops them up.
Scoops them up. Let's take a look at the sideboards. Understandably, Drew's sideboard is full of blue cards, and actually has 2 gut shots, probably for this matchup specifically.
Oh, awesome.
Gotta be. I mean, that's gonna be fantastic. Ragavan, Darcy. I don't think the list that Crystal's playing is playing Darcy, though, is it? Only one.
Only one. Yep.
Yikes. But that's where a lot of these lists have gone really hard on Shredder and decided to cut their channelers.
Yep. So looking at Crystal sideboard, we see Blood Moon, Dress Down, Engineered Explosives, Flusterstorm, Fury, Magus, Mystical Dispute. Those will likely come in. Relic of Progenitus Subtlety, and 2 Unlicensed Hearse.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a Blood Moon matchup?
No. There's too
Like,
many.
With the even though he's like mono blue, right? Drew seems pretty.
Yeah, he does have a
reliant
lot
on his
of
lands.
but he doesn't have a lot of blue, like blue non-islands.
Sure.
Like he does have Otawara, and I think he has
I think
some
there's
fairy
some,
conclaves.
Yeah, the conclaves.
And a Castle Vantris, and I don't know what Sunken Ruins is, but that's in his mana base. So.
Sunken Ruin.
But it is just under half is islands, so. Interestingly, Blood Moon could be okay. I don't think it's one you want in, though, because I think the goal is to get underneath the counter spells.
You're trying to kill the counter spell player.
Drew is sideboarding really heavily. I'm going to guess that he's bringing in 2 Mystical Disputes, the Dismember, the 2 Gut Shots. Probably it. I don't know about this Jace.
Yeah, any thought to Architect of Thought?
That's the 4-mana one that
I think so. That it's a mini Factor Fiction. Makes your creatures attack with 1 less power.
Yeah.
So.
Clint, that was game 1. We're going into game 2 right now. Would love to see the sideboard plan. Because when I was talking to him before, he said he felt like this is a pretty solid matchup. He said specifically after sideboard it gets a lot better. I think he gets to take out the what are these called? The Spreading Seas?
Yeah, that didn't seem very good against
the mostly blue deck.
Yeah.
So
great against Tron lands and other maybe like greedy mana bases.
Yeah, he was talking to me. He said it's really good against burn. Because they're so color intensive. He's like, I just shut somebody out of a game. They had 2 lands, I had 2 Spreading Seas, and they didn't get to cast spells after that. So Chalice and Spreading Seas both doing good in that matchup, I think. We've got, I think, 5 burn players today. So, but he's talking to me the deck is really more here to eat Titan, which is a highly accounted for deck choice today.
Yeah. I saw a lot of Murktide players near the top tables too today as well.
So if he thinks this is a good matchup, then that makes a lot of sense. So I believe the winner of this can just draw into the top 8.
That's nice.
Yeah, always good. Let's see. Crystal's hand's got 2 counter spells, Bobble, some lands. Drew keeps a hand of Fairy Conclave Go.
Nice draw of the Spell Pierce.
That has to be fantastic in this matchup, especially if like Drew goes for Chalice here.
On 1? Yeah.
Yep, Chalice into Pierce. No threats, though, it looks like, in Crystal's hands. Just reactive stuff. Nice. Build your own mini brainstorm.
Bobble myself.
3 counter spells.
Card. No, she does not.
Let's see. Goes and gets an island. Curious to see what she does here. It was a good draw. I mean, without that Spell Pierce, I think she just got locked out at 1-drops.
Right, because I don't really see after that resolve, like there's 1 Otawara.
Chalice into Counterspell. Yeah. That would be the only other piece of interaction.
Yeah, so no threats. It's just the Counterspell war.
I will say, Drew's mana base contains 7 man lands, though. So being able to get in and just beat down with those when we get really late, I think is good. So this is probably for the double counterspell that's left in Crystal's hand, is why she'd be shocking this in here. She did draw Murktide, though.
So Murktide counterspell?
Yeah, which hopefully Drew maybe has some Mystical Disputes to respond to this. Murktide. Drew says it resolves. Attempt bounce. Counter. Looks like he has another borrower in hand. Force pitch the borrower. Interesting. I mean, that's pretty close to a kill spell for the next while.
Right, because it'll be hard to replay it.
Yeah, almost in...
Without the graveyard.
Yeah, because the Consider's gone. They do have an Unholy. They did draw Shredder for the turn, though. Which is really solid here.
Shredding some ledgers.
Would Subtlety hardcast counterspell? Ooh. I do really like the subtleties in this list, though. Lets you play a tempo game that I think a lot of decks don't have access to. Another borrower in Drew's hand. So while Crystal has had the hand of counterspells, Drew has just had borrower after borrower.
Yeah, I think he was really banking on one of those chalices resolving.
I think I would too. Interestingly,
resolves.
Yeah, she has an Unholy Heat, so I am surprised she didn't go for it on her end step. Interesting. Well, she does it anyway, gets it through. I guess wanting to get the connive trigger here. Bolts you. One of the good things about this blue deck, though, is it does not hurt itself with its mana.
Right, yeah, we talked about that a little earlier with the domain decks, right, who are just all in on hurting themselves.
And this is pretty much the opposite.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I think this deck has done so well today, is we've seen a lot of aggro and a decent amount of combo that finishes out about 18 damage, and when that's the case, it's really hard for those decks that are reliant on that specific loss of life to win those games. Interesting. What do we got? Is this a fetch? Yeah, it's a fetch. What are we fetching? Just another island. So we're almost to the point where we can recast that Murktide for 2. No, we were there. We can do that now. So here comes the Murktide. Again, exile everything but the bauble. Murktide comes in as a 6/6. We know Drew has another borrower in hand. So I expect that's what's about to happen here. Into Charm, potentially? Yep, there's Charm.
Archmage's Charm.
Oh,
Dispute.
Dispute. Trigger Shredder.
Yep, the connive on Shredder.
Goes to Yard. What? Oh, double connive.
Oh, yes, from the Archmage's Charm.
Yeah.
And, yes.
I do think... Oh, okay. I was a little confused.
Yeah. It's like, that's not in play. I think Drew had intended on casting it, but needed to use the
mana for the Mystical Dispute. Yeah.
Probably an aggro here?
I don't think so.
Separating the Fairy Conclave over there.
We're going to get in with the Conclave? I would be super surprised. Oh, Deluge. Conclave costs 2 to activate?
I think so.
Okay, so we can't activate it this turn. I will say this game is going much better for Drew, I think.
Yeah, his life total is higher than...
Yeah, if you don't hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dismember is good, but...
Quite a cost.
Yeah. I imagine it's pretty solid, though, as a removal spell.
Another Haul.
It's gonna start. You can start activating those here soon.
Right, one more land.
That and Flashback the Deluge.
Yep.
I'm
we'll
just
consider her options.
I'm just imagining what this game looks like without if one of those chalices resolved at the beginning.
Right? That's so different. Into Iteration, Connive.
Jeez. Discards a land. I think there is a non-land in hand. Oh.
Yeah, it's the Murktide that got bounced.
Oh, that's right. Another Iteration, another Murktide, and what looks to be, I think, Unholy Heat? Yeah. Exiles Murktide. Can she cast that this turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do everything with a bauble again.
2.
Drew down to
Play
13.
Murktide.
Oh no, we're keeping instant sorcery this time. Oh, it's only a 4/4. Really? Oh, because there's another Murktide in hand.
Right.
Got it. I was very confused for a second.
Like to so you want to leave the instant sorceries there for the next one
because it'll make the first one bigger.
Make that one bigger. Yep.
Yeah. I assume this is probably Svelin? Potentially? Interesting. Okay, so there's this Valoon. Passes the turn. Alright. Heat is the draw. We also have Iteration. Oh, Iteration is such a good card.
This Murktide deck draws so many cards.
Yeah, it does. I have Iterations. I had them for Pioneer, and now it's banned in Pioneer.
Right. I think I sold my copies because I wasn't going to be playing too much Modern. And then they had Modern as the RCQ season. And it's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, almost. I was very popular around here.
Yeah.
I think there's been maybe 2 Pioneer ones total. The season on the whole has been mostly Modern. Really, we're not playing the other Murktide. I think it's a Subtlety in hand.
Oh, for Drew?
Yeah.
Drew can, take up his Blast D Zone. Tressif.
Thank you for the follow. Two. Oh, there's another bounce spell. Is this the 4th borrower? Yep.
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness, this Murktide has gone up and down all day.
Yep. Blast Zone, kill your Shredders, attack with Svelin.
That was quite the turn.
Oh, no attack with Svelin.
Hold on.
Oh,
they cast it, but did not have Delirium.
Yes.
Ouch. What do we got here? Question on a ruling. Can I go into combat with Sukenzen Smelter, but not attack to create the 3/1/3s? That's a good question. I don't know what that card does.
The Smelter, so it triggers at combat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure since it triggers at combat to pay 1, sack an artifact to make a 3/1.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think you have to attack with them necessarily. It's a triggered ability and it's not activated, right?
Got you.
So any activated abilities without haste.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to attack with the creature. It is just at the beginning of combat.
Yep.
Trigger.
Yep.
Okay, I see what's being asked here. So yeah, you can create the 3/1, but you cannot. You can attack with it if you need to, but you do not need to attack with it to get the thing. Pitch Force of Negation to Subtlety something, which was met with Counterspell.
Yes, trying to counter the Regent.
Try to Subtlety into. Ugh. Goodness. Curious what happens here.
I think these Brazen Borrowers are going to be on blocking duty.
Probably. Just flash one in here. Oh, activate Fairy Conclave? Interesting. Sacrificing the land rather than bringing the borrower in.
Something with the mana now.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think Drew is going to try and erase.
So we're at what I believe to be 10?
Shredder.
13?
And another Murktide.
Casting another Murktide. I'm curious why we didn't do this pre-combat. Maybe we just assumed there would be blockers and didn't. Knives Away a land. This is very interesting. But yeah, I do think these borrowers are going to be on blocking duty. Maybe a Subtlety to block, depending on what's in hand.
We're sending in Svalin to
just draw?
Just to draw a card and meet its end.
I mean, maybe. I might do that here. The card draw seems relatively important in this scenario. Only 2 cards in hand. The Challenger deck, Salties? Alright, passes the turn back.
Yeah, the Challenger decks are awesome.
They are a fantastic way to get into Magic.
Good value. It's coming in with the team. Oh, minus Shredder.
Flash in.
Borrower.
Looks like some response from... Okay, no response. Chumping. Those die. I don't know how Drew gets out of this. Untap. Obviously has some idea. Oh, nope, just rearranging the lands. Combat. Draw a card. I can't imagine he can get out of it from here. Life total is 9. Or 10.
Yeah, 6 to 10.
Blast Zone goes to 1, passes the turn.
Yeah, all those
Hey,
borrowers were
Yukai.
used up earlier to slow down the Murktides. Crystal has cast so many Murktides this game. I think she's cast like 6 or 7.
It's got to be close to that. These are... Oh, there it is.
The hand.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, it was just that Spell Pierce at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was crazy.
That
Awesome.
That was nuts.
Well, let's get Crystal in here for an interview,
Sweet.
and we'll be
Deck check
right
on
back.
The other one.
Yeah. Okay, just a minute, y'all. We are now. Welcome back, everybody. We've got Crystal Feltz here after a crazy win. So that Spell Pierce.
Yep.
I feel pretty confident to say that won you the game.
Yeah.
We were looking at your opening hand. I was like 3 counter spells. That looks really good. And Patty goes, I think that was a Spell Pierce.
Yep.
And Chalice, and then Spell Pierce, and I was like, is there a force? And then I felt like the game just fell towards you after that, because no permanent removal from the blue deck means you just get to replay those Murktides over and over again.
I think the thing about Chalice with Murktide, you have to really be aware of when you care about it.
Yeah.
You look at game 1, like he cast a Chalice on 1 in the mid to late game, and I just said, sure, I didn't care. I don't know if you saw me laugh at myself. I cast the bolt into the Chalice and felt silly about it. The Consider, I knew the Chalice was there and just wanted to fill my graveyard.
That's what we were thinking.
But like, I knew at that point in the game, I just didn't care. I had plenty of 2 mana, 3 mana threats, like the Archmage's Charms, the Shredders were putting in work. But they're in that early game. The Chalice would have wrecked me. You see me spinning my wheels a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's isn't Mage's dream.
Absolutely.
So the Spell Pierce there was key. I kind of sat back on my wheels a little bit more than I'd like to in that kind of matchup.
Yeah.
The mono blue deck is, I think, really underrated. Sviloon is a powerful card draw engine. Having access to 8 forces and subtlety and force of negation is definitely gives you a lot of tools. But you did see the weakness of not having the actual answer to the Murktides, where I was able to just refill my graveyard, recast it. I think that this Spell Pierce really coming in clutch there. I play 2 in my main because I think it's just such an important card in the format, whether it's Chalice of the Void, Ren and 6, Teferi. Yeah. Plenty of cards that are good against you. You really just need an answer. Makes sense.
I know one of the other co-hosts here today has played a decent amount of Murktide, Spencer, and he got me with Spell Pierce one time pretty good. So back before Spell Pierce, I think, was really locked in as a tech, and now I've just seen it come more and more, and after that match, I believe it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you see, there was a time when people were talking about whether or not you play a main deck Spell Pierce. At this point, it's whether you play 1 or 2.
Makes sense to me.
One of the most important cards in the deck, just having access to a couple of them is really important.
Yeah. So choice here to play 1 Dragon Rage Channeler. So I've seen lists with and without. What's the reasoning for having just 1?
So something that I think I heard once. I'm kind of borrowing a page out of Gabriel Nassif's book.
Okay.
You saw him top 8 a challenge not too long ago with 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler, 1 Snapcaster Mage in the main. I didn't have access to a Snapcaster for this tournament. I also haven't played with the card much, so I didn't want to come unprepared. Think of it less as a 1-of and just as a 5th 1-drop.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Cutting the channelers, I really felt like I needed just 1 or 2 more 1 mana threats, especially in the early game and in game 1. And without having 4 of it, means that in matchups where it's bad, if you're facing a lot of endurances, hearses in the mirror, you don't have like 4 slots just clogging up your main deck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it looks kind of strange, but I feel I had a friend of mine asking about it just the other day. I feel fantastic about the choice. I think 1 or 2 channelers is the way you want to be in Murktide.
That seems good. I've seen a lot of transition to Ledger Shredder because of how much better it is against Endurance. Especially here, I don't know if you've noticed how many Titan players are out there today.
Played against 2 of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. So with the transition to Ledger Shredder, I think it's been good.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments before we kind of finish up here?
Nothing super specific. I think feeling really good about having 4 moon effects, 2 moon effects and 2 subtleties. Came really prepared for the Titan matchup, and that served me well in my first couple of matches.
Yeah.
Just choosing versatility in the sideboard. I think if I'd gone to a game 3 against the mono blue deck, I probably would have boarded in the Blood Moons. I was noticing so many non-basics.
Yeah.
The utility lands that you can just punish them.
Yeah, we talked about it actually. We were curious if you were going to bring them in.
I didn't really consider it much after game 1. I think I should have though. I think the right choice would have been to bring in the moon effects, at least Magus being harder to interact with as it doesn't get hit by force.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I probably would have made that choice. And if Drew and I see each other again in the top 8, you can count on it.
Nice, that's awesome. Well, so for you feel like if you qualify, you're going to go.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I have every intention on really hitting the grind. This is my 3rd of the season. If I don't qualify today, I'll be driving the 3 hours from Idaho again here tomorrow. Yeah,
got you.
I live in Pocatello, Idaho. We made that 3-hour drive this morning, and
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm locked on. Magic is my #1 goal right now.
Hell yeah.
If I don't qualify today, I'll be back in the Salt Lake area tomorrow playing at Game Grid. It's
it's Game Grid Salt Lake, I think it is now. Joe, he was in here. He's in the feature match. He's the owner. So that's awesome. Well, awesome to have you, Crystal. It's great to see you, and best of luck in the rest of it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We're gonna go back to being right back, and we'll see y'all in just a little bit with round 6.